So this is another video from my child safety course, and thank you so far. If you haven't watched this on YouTube but have enrolled, this video is about some disturbing facts. So if you don't want to listen to this video, I understand, but it's basically to something that I sort of knew about, living on a housing estate. But did you know that, mothers and children used to be targeted on housing estates? And yes, they did. A lot of the time, they would try and court the mother, if they were a single mother. Women as well, who, because a lot of people forget about men who are single parents, because they do exist. And yes, they will try and befriend the parent first, to then attack her or his children. And I watched something either yesterday or the day before about big families, and there was this one lady who met someone and abused her in the tabloids, and called her the baby making machine, because she fell pregnant very easily, like women do, because there's those who fall pregnant at a drop, quite a lot, and there's others who it takes ages to have children. But even there are men and women, or mainly men in that sense, that will use that against a woman, if they fall easily pregnant. And yes, you can use contraceptives, a condom or the pill, but even they are not 100% safe. And I think we kind of forget that if you're in a relationship and it seems happy at the beginning, and you let your guard down and it gets into being sexually active, you don't think about that, because what they do is they try and make you drop your guard, by saying the things that you want to hear. And I'm not saying it all men, because I have now met someone who loves me out of this world, and in your gut instinct if it's wrong or if it's right, But yes, and also or threaten, parents, residents on housing estates, and they have the most highest child abuse, domestic violence and bullying, higher than any other kind of street or residence, especially in the UK. And a child gets raped every 15 seconds, and that means every day, along with their single parent. And a common trait, one thing they do is they will drug, their mum or a woman, in fact, your dad, and then drug the children. And that's why sometimes child abuse and bullying is very hard to prove, because if you've been drugged and it's happened, then it's very hard and you don't remember, then it can be harder for the person who's done it to be found guilty. But there are ways and means that you can do to stop it from happening. The one thing that Peabody did was that they gave chains and bolts to the doors, and the caretaker didn't have keys spare, to get into homes. And so, you know, you could, and all I would say is, you know, lock your door at night, you know. And that's the one thing that they always did in Peabody. They made doors, fire doors, which is to say, it are the must doors now, especially in schools. All buildings have to have fire doors. It's part of like the fire regulations, you know, legal policy. And that goes for the same for homes now as well, especially with Glenfield, because obviously that was dreadful. And that was due to cladding as well. But now all homes have to have fire doors and have a double lock on them. And the one thing I used to say to people that I knew were often targeted was bolt your door, you know, lock your door. I know it sounds rash, but and always keep your key on you or hidden, you know. And don't do the thing where a lot of families would do, and this is, don't talk about the 80s, is put the key under the doormat or on a chain by the door, you know, that was very common. And double lock the door, you know. I lived in a bedsit in Bognor Regis for a bit, and there was one woman who kept leaving the landing door unlocked and would leave it open, because she kept locking herself out. And I had to go at her once to say, can you please stop doing that, because that door is there for safety, you know. But she kept doing it all the time, and in the end I locked her out. Not to be nasty, but to say to leave this door shut, you know, because a young girl moved in at the top floor and was causing a lot of trouble, and they got into the building, you know. And then she moved out, that woman, and then a really lovely African guy moved in there, who's very nice, very charming, you know, and he moved out because of that, you know, and because of a young girl that moved upstairs into one of the rooms, allowing, you know, her mates to come run up the stairs to try and get her, and it just was, and it was a bedsit, so you shared toilet and bathroom with other residents, which is not an ideal situation, but you know, it was available and what was on offer, you know. And they're the kind of places where it's easy for bullies and abuse to be visible. And so I would always say, you know, and the other thing is, always, if you go out, you know, in a pub, don't leave your drinks unattended, you know. Always get them on you, because I had my drinks spiked quite a few times, which is, for me, is a no-no, you get me, because you don't know that person might have an allergic reaction to it, you know, and they are some real dangerous, you know, drugs that people use to spike drinks. So never, don't let a complete stranger buy you a drink, you know, and always watch the bar staff make you drink, because often they can use dangerous, they can have, some bars, especially in the city, can have drinks looking like their vodka. But I remember once going to a party on New Year's Eve, and the drink tasted like medicine, and I was absolutely, when I was off my head. So just be on your guard all the time, is what I say. And don't be made a prisoner in your own home. And if you see anything that is suspicious, report it. Because housing estates have always been a target for abusers and bullies, because they were made originally for those who couldn't afford to rent a property or buy, so they were, you know, sort of lease. They had leaseholds on them, but it was and still is an easy target for predators to harm parents and kids, you know. So you know, just be vigilant. And I used to, you know, protect the estate as much as possible with some other kids. I think you know, when I think about Little Peabody, I think about Bugs Malone, because we kind of did take over that estate, the kids on there, and it became kind of like we were protecting the estate more than the adults were. It seems really bizarre, you know, but we were, you know, and because you would get other kids from the other states who were worse than the one we lived on, getting on the estate, you know, and then they would just come in and wreck stuff, and it was like, you know, go back to your own estate and stay there if you're going to cause trouble, you know. So, but it is very, very common in housing estates for abuse and neglect to harm parents and kids, and so, you know, I'm doing a campaign at the minute, as well as these videos for my child protection and child safety protection course called Be Smart Online, and that was talking about, you know, what not to share, what you should, what, you know, it's good to share, being very careful of, you know, scams, and what to do about online trolls, because online trolling is bullying basically, and they think because you can't see them that they're allowed to abuse anyone they like, and there have been kids who've been targeted, and the suicide rate since, you know, trolling started has been higher than, you know, face-to-face bullying, because people, I mean, I've worked on a chat service for a manufacturer, and some of the abuse we took was, I mean, you know, would you really say some of those things to someone in the street, you know? And it used to be disgusting, some of the abuse we took, you know, and it's because it was a free service and they could use it, you know, to take advantage, you know. And I would say to companies to make it more safety is that as soon as you is to record chats, and if there are any that come through that are nasty and offensive, to screenshot it and then block that person and get them reported, you know, and also put a disclaimer on your chat service before they get onto it, you know, of, you know, what they can and can't do on it, to make it clear that if they use, you know, really offensive language, if they become aggressive, you know, that you know, you will take action against them and block them from, you know, using the service and other services available, because people will take advantage of those new style of communication, you know, and it affects those who are genuinely wanting to use it for the purpose it's used for, you know. So you know, just be smart with what you share, which can be used to target you. Also, you know, double lock your door at night, you know, don't leave windows open, don't, you know, you could do the thing where you can get a plug which has got a timer on it, for like lights and that to come on, so just that someone's in. But, you know, professional burglars and those who carry out abuse will still find a way of getting in, you know, either to take stuff from you or to, you know, target you to do worse, a crime like rape and abuse. So don't, and also stop putting maps up of where you are. You know, I see a lot of that, and I know that it's just being innocent, but you're basically advertising that you're not indoors, you know, and you need to tell your children that it's okay to share, like, where you've been, but not where you are, you know, especially if they're on their own, or, you know, it's just be vigilant, and monitor your kids' use on the internet. And that doesn't mean watching them 24/7, it's just to be aware of what they're looking at, you know, because even as much you put parental control on sites that they can look and can't, there's always those sites and apps that creep in, you know. So, and if you get anybody, you know, using an illegal app, because they do exist, you know, again, and don't take it down, but just keep it on your phone to use it another source of evidence. If they use it because there are some very harmful apps out there now, which are illegal, but people are still getting hold of them, you know. So don't be frightened of reporting it. You know, Childline covers that as well, you know, and same with the NSPCC and the National Children's Bureau as well as my site that I've set up with those organisations called the Archangel Network. So yeah, and that's the archangelnetwork.wordpress.com. So yes, so just be you know, vigilant. If you live in a housing estate, do keep your doors locked. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. If you're indoors and got your windows open, that's fine, but don't use them especially in the bottom floor or the top floor or the basement floors and ground floors. You know, always keep those doors locked and windows locked all the time, because people will try and use it to get in, you know. So yeah, many thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.